Hello. Okay, story time. Democratic National Convention. Surprise video. Another announcement for those who don't know, I have an alternate channel consisting of only branch Davidian studies in their raw, pure form. I have some comments that I put in there to help supplement explanatory notes. I'll put the link in the description if you don't know about it. Some have been asking, so in case you don't know, in case you're brave and you want to listen to raw studies, they'll be there. Okay. So, why did we go to the Democratic National Convention? All right. Setup. So, during Passover 1984, unfortunately, there was some custody matters involving Clive Doyle's children, Karen and Sherry Doyle. And they were essentially kind of kidnapped by relatives. Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say. Like, don't, I'm not, I don't want to. Anyway, and it wasn't like, they were going to harm them or anything. It's just it's a custody thing. They didn't feel that Clive should have the girls, and there wasn't permit. Anyway, okay, so the girls are gone. But in the summer of 1984, somehow, some way, through some process that I don't know, and I'm not really going to comment on much about, David Koresh found Karen and Sherry where they were. He was Vernon, obviously. He found them, and he, saw them in the yard, where they were staying, and get in the car, and they jumped in and, took off and got Karen and Sherry back to Clive Doyle and Edna Doyle, their grandmother. Yay, happy ending. And then they moved right over to the Herring House and lived there. Okay, so this is David Koresh having some kind of ability to find people, again. Now, all right. So Vernon came out to California to pick me up because I had just graduated high school. And now I'm going to be in the group, right? I don't have to go to school anymore. And side note, when my mother brought me my high school diploma later that year, she picked it up for me because I didn't go to my graduation. She handed it to me, and David Koresh was there and said, "Oh, David, you almost sold your soul for this piece of paper." So I'll let that stand without comment. Because, during the time I was trying to graduate high school, I had to miss probably about almost 2 weeks of school right toward the end there. And I just had to make up all kinds of bullshit, but I figured it out and I graduated. Okay. So anyway, it comes to pick me up, but Vernon hears that Lois Roden has gone with her son George to the Democratic National Convention in San Francisco. Let's get dates for that really quick. I apologize. Let me look that up really quick. So David Koresh felt that he needed to go track her down, I guess because she was hanging around with George, right? I can only assume. Doesn't want her hanging around with George. It was July 16th through 19th, 1984. 16, 17, 18, 19. So the 19th would have been a Thursday because Friday it didn't, it ended on a Thursday. So we left on a Tuesday night. Okay. So Tuesday, July 17th, 1984. Vernon had a Chevy Nova station wagon. So this was an older car. Even in 1984, it would have been like 20 years old. Had radiator problems, kind of would overheat. And then he had this trailer that was plywood box on wheels, and he was hauling around his musical equipment in there. So we left at night. Vernon always went on trips at night. Again, that's a logistical thing that he preferred. I used to like when I go on a trip, I like to get up at crack of dawn and get on the road. Like wake up, boom, get But that's the way I think. But Vernon would wait until around afternoon 3, 4, and then he would leave. Yeah, doesn't make any sense to me, but we're all different, right? Okay, so the mission is to find Lois Roden, and when Vernon finds her, he's going to say Lois Roden, and I don't know what he was going to say other than how dare you come to the national convention with your son George? Don't you know? I don't know, but he certainly was very upset about it. Now, if you've heard any of my previous stories, like you might be thinking, well, like you know, um, why wouldn't I mean, there's a lot of questions you could ask me. I just don't know. Okay, for some reason, he was very upset that Lois Roden was going with her son George to the Democratic National Convention, and he felt like he had a message for her if he could find her at the Democratic National Convention. And I can only assume that he sure did think he was going to find her. I'll let you know, a spoiler, we never found her. Because we were going. We got up to the, I slept in the plywood box trailer that night on plywood with a blanket, and I was 19, so it was easy, no problem. Didn't bother me. I was I grew up like one of those free range kids. I was very rough and tumble. I didn't care. So then the next day we continued on to San Francisco. So we got there on a Wednesday evening, and we found the BART. That's the Bay Area Rapid Transit. We got in there on the Bay Area Rapid Transit. We navigated our way downtown Glendale, because we had not Glendale, San Francisco. We found a motel room on the outskirts because, going downtown would be a pain in the butt. We got into the downtown San Francisco, and we got down to the convention center. By the time we got there, the sun had set, so it must have been pretty late. This is summer, so it's probably already around, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening. And we start looking for Lois Roden. So it's outside the front entrance of the convention center. It's this huge area, and there's like all kinds of people there. And we're just wandering around looking for Lois Roden. And while we're there, we're meeting various people. David Koresh is confronting Jesus people, and one guy got really upset because he could tell that David Koresh didn't have conventional beliefs on Jesus Christ, and like started trying to nail him down, and anyway, got I don't remember details, but yeah, Jesus people were upset with him. Wandered around a while and just never saw Lois Roden. Okay, so this is Wednesday night. So the next day, we uneventful, got back on the BART, went back out to the hotel room, and went to sleep. This is David Koresh, myself, and Rachel, his wife. She's bear with me. She's 15. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, so what are we going to do, right? We got to find Lois Roden. That's the mission. We got to find Lois Roden. Well, so the next idea, this was David Koresh's idea, was, hey, let's go to all the different hotels in the area and just drive around the hotels and see if we can find her. Now, I'm not like, I'm young. I keep saying that, but it's true. So I'm not really super analyzing this situation. I'm not complaining at all. If I was to go as an adult now, I'd be like, do you have a plan at all? You don't, right? You're just supposed to find her magically somehow. That's probably what I would say, because I'd be snarky and whatever, I'm only human. But yeah, back then I'm just, hey, whatever, man. You're the prophet. So I was the navigator. He was driving. I had the map and just told him, go here, go there. We're driving around downtown San Francisco with this trailer. And yeah, we're not finding her. I think he really honestly thought he was going to just like, oh, Lois Roden, thus saith the Lord. Something like that. Like, it doesn't happen. Okay. Anyway, really, the convention's over that evening, Thursday evening. That's the 19th of July. It's over. So now what? Because I remember we didn't go home until, so this is Thursday. We didn't actually head home till Saturday evening. So Thursday, Friday, we got 2 days to kill here for me to tell you what happened in those 2 days. So essentially over the next 2 days, David Koresh is trying to figure out why am I here? Why am I here? Obviously, but he didn't say that. But I know that's what he's doing because then we go track down some Reform Adventists. So Reform Adventists are like Seventh-day Adventists, but the super conservative, separate group, like Ellen White to the max, hey, no cheese and super long dresses down to your ankles and super long hair. Like, it's just crazy. Like Little House on the Prairie. Anyway. Yeah. So we went to go visit this guy and literally uneventful, had a very nice house, very nice children, very well kept. We sat down and talked to him. And okay, fine, but nothing happened. Like, we didn't get anywhere. It's not like they had an argument or anything, but we left this man's house. He's finding this through the phone book. Okay. Reform Adventists in the phone book, call the guy up, hey, come on over. We talked to him. Okay. Then we found also what we'll call a Sunday keeping church, or a regular evangelical church, This pastor, we met him. And he's like, come on. This wasn't a Sunday, by the way, because so I don't know what was going on. This was an evening service, maybe on a Friday, I suppose. Thursday or Friday evening service or morning service. I don't know. This was a new church this guy was planting. Evangelical pastor, just generic evangelical church. We went to this guy's church. He gave a sermon about Christ and the branches, and the branch has to be grafted in, and very nice sermon, nothing horrible, and David Koresh did not preach. He didn't interrupt. He didn't say anything nasty. He brought his guitar. He played some songs, nice songs. He had some songs. I met a man the other day as he was passing by. I asked, are you a wayfaring across the great divide? This is about John the Baptist. He said, not I, I'm not the one, but there is yet one to come. Ask me how he can yet walk straight while staring at the Son of God, right? How can the Son of God walk straight while he's staring the God right in the face? Great song. You can find his songs on YouTube if you'll search. It's lots of songs. Some of the songs are pretty good. Okay. And, some of his earlier songs, folk rock stuff. Yeah. My dad hated it. My dad hated any kind of rock, whether it was soft or hard or folk or whatever. He was like big band, Sinatra crooning, like totally nerdy 50s. Got Robert Goulet. Anyway, okay. He even had a big lecture with Vernon at the beginning, like when my father thought that he was gonna somehow influence Vernon, maybe, but no, he never did. Vernon's going to play his style of music. Nobody's going to stop him, which it was fine. I thought it was okay. It was fine. It was good music. So we do the church thing and sing the songs, and nothing really happens there. Nothing amazing. I mean, it was nice, but okay. What's next? So we went to a music store, and Vernon had his music, and we're talking about. I was supposed to stay with the trailer because I was supposed to guard the equipment, but that's not me. I don't follow directions. Well, I came in and playing with the organs and everything, what are you doing in here? And yeah, whatever. Anyway, I didn't really get in trouble, but Koresh was pretty cool at this time. This was before I got involved with my wife. So his attitude toward me was better because of the lack of tension with, the relationship and everything. Okay, I'm trying to keep my throat moist. That's why I'm drinking so much. I apologize. All right, so yeah, and then, so Friday night, we're like, well, maybe we're here to find Florence Hotta because she used to live in San Jose. Now, we didn't have any contact information on her because that all burned down in the administration building fire from probably about a year or two before. Okay, well, we don't, but this is literally him thinking of this within 5 minutes, and then we're in the phone book looking for her number. It's not there. Obviously, she's unlisted because she doesn't want to get stalked by a bunch of angry Davidians. They hate her because she took all the money. Long story. Anyway, if you don't understand that, you can watch the Ready to Harvest video on the Davidians, and you'll find out about that. Anyway, so we go down to San Jose and we're looking for Florence Hot. If that doesn't get anywhere, very quickly fizzles out because we don't, this is unplanned. There's no plan. This is just wandering around aimlessly trying to find a purpose. Why are we in the Bay Area? Okay, so that crashes and burns. Finally, we call up a local Adventist church, just standard Adventist church. Vernon gets into an argument with the pastor pretty quickly because he expects them to just house people, random people calling up, at the spur of the moment, which, yeah, in 1984, maybe in 1884, but no, not in 1984. Sorry. It's a different world, right? Yeah, but they do let us stay in the parking lot of the Adventist church that night. We get specific permission, which I thought was actually quite generous. And we just pull our car and trailer into the parking lot of the Adventist church. We have permission to be there, and we just sleep the night there. Because we don't have very much money. This is early days, okay? There's hardly anybody in the group, hardly anybody working. The one who had the cash was my father. Okay, my father still had the big money he got from selling the house a few years ago in LA. We sold our house in 1980 for buku dollars and had lots of cash. So there's some other money that people have, but it's not a lot. Okay, so we get up in the next morning. It's Sabbath morning. So this would be the 21st of July, 1984. And we go to the Sabbath school. They have Sabbath school like Sunday school first, and then they have the sermon. So one of the things that Vernon did was he got into an argument with the deacon, the children's youth leader, because there was a kid in there with an earring, which is unusual. And Vernon thought that he wasn't saying it directly, but he was telling the guy, that kid shouldn't be in here. He's breaking the rules and you need to get him out of here, that's the way Vernon was. He's being, very strict. And the guy says, no, I'd rather have him here because I'm trying to work with him. I'm trying to show him that, that I can be understanding. And anyway, so there was a difference of approach. Like Vernon thought, no, we got to kick this kid's ass out on the street, get him out of here, not on the street, but get him out of here. He doesn't belong in the church. Kind of like an original Victor Hoddeth attitude. Like he's obviously a tare, right? He's not, you have wheat and tares, right? The wheat's good. The tares are bad. The tares you throw away. The wheat goes into the storehouse and goes to heaven. So this kid, I guess, Koresh is thinking he's a tare, get him out of here. The guy's, no, I want to work with this kid, and the kid seemed okay, but he had an earring in 1984, wearing like a Billy Idol thing or something that I remember, like dangling, pretty weird for Adventism, because Vernon technically was correct. That would be unusual for Adventists to allow that kind of thing. But anyway. We did go to lunch with the deacon, and he had married into, I think, a Southeast Asian family. So we had some very nice relatives, big family, nice family. Went over to their house, these big family, all the mother, the grandmother, the grandfather, the mother, the father, the sisters, and yeah, great. And and he had some children, a little 5-year-old girl that I made friends with, and we gave them studies. We got out the Davidian charts I've shown you, and we're sitting there and showing the studies. And they take notes. They were very nice. It was great. And they took notes, and we gave them a study, and then we said goodbye. And we took addresses, and you'll get in touch. And then we got in the car, and we got on the interstate. And we headed on down the road, ultimately from the Bay Area back to Waco, Texas, over the next few days. And yeah. And it was never spoken of again. He never referred to that trip ever again. He never mentioned it ever again. And it was never discussed again, ever. And I'm the only one now who knows anything about it. Yeah. So interesting, huh? I guess you could call it a dud. Or maybe it's just an object lesson. I don't know. I'm going to let people interpret that story. Epilogue. That's when I first moved into the Herring House. And then I was sitting in the living room one day, and then my wife, Deborah, walks in. Hello. Yeah. She was beautiful. I didn't know her. And she saw me. She didn't know I was there because she already had a crush on me. And I was like, hello, cute girl. Anyway, yeah, and things worked out. You know some of the rest of the story there, but yeah. Yeah, I saw my wife, my future wife. I didn't know that at the time. And I was like, oh, this is not such a bad place after all. She didn't live there, but I mean, I very shortly went to live on Mount Carmel because right after this, David Koresh, within probably the next few days after July 22nd, or by the end of July, he was already off to New Bedford to go recruit Floyd Houtman and the Houtmans and the Sylvias and also some other people and bring those people in. So they were back at the Herring House by that fall. So there you go. That's story time for today. Quick story time. Get it done quick, get it out. Make some more content for people to enjoy. Catch you later.